for audio, so let's get right to it. We are pleased to have Barb McGarth from Above the Fold Canada joining us on today's webinar. During this, Barb will share her insights on how to maintain your brand's reputation and leverage that to being in line with your goals. Barb started her first creative business nearly 20 years ago. Over the years, she's ventured in and out of business ownership, rounding out her knowledge and skills. Most recently, she held executive-level positions in public and private companies. Currently, she is the owner of Above the Fold Canada, serving businesses, or partners as she calls them, from Nova Scotia to Vancouver. Her specialties include marketing, executive social media, reputation management, advising, communications, change management, community relations, public relations, stakeholder communications, and also branding and identity. Barb also is an international award winner for her communications and marketing. So welcome, Barb. Thank you so much for joining us on today's webinar, and we'll let you take it away.
Thanks, Deidre. So hopefully everyone can hear me. Deidre and I were just talking offline, and when we were talking offline, we both had our audio on and I could see. So now, of course, my video is gone. So I'm presuming that everyone can see the presentation. But as she mentioned, if you do have any technical difficulties during the presentation, please just type help in the chat box and we'll make sure that we get everybody up and running. So first off, I want to thank all of you for coming today and being willing to give up your lunch hour just to chat with me about something that I'm so fanatical about. And of course, that's reputation management. Having spent the last 20 years in marketing and communications, I see such change happening in that industry, and it's happening fast. So today I want to talk about reputation management. What is it, and how you can use it to grow your business? I like to say that reputation management is one part marketing, one part communication, a whole bunch of parts science, but all about business growth. So of course, my company is Above the Fold Canada, and we focus on customer acquisition and sales growth for our clients. How we do it is a little bit different for each client, but overall, those are the primary things that we're looking for. So I'm going to start us off with a really bad joke. Oh, you're supposed to be able to see me. Yes, my video turned off. Thank you. So we'll turn that back on. My video was here. Oh, there we go. Can you see me now? I'll take that as a yes. Okay, perfect. Sorry about that, guys. It automatically turned off on me before, so I'm not sure why. All right, let's try that. Okay, so bad joke. Where do you hide a dead body? On the second page of Google, right? Whoever goes to the second page of Google anymore? So I would argue with you today that that's what reputation management is all about. Getting found online and actively managing and participating in that conversation. Let's see if we have the technology. There we go. All right. If anybody's looking for a copy of the presentation today, Deidre suggested that the best thing to do is shoot me an email when we're done, and I will send you a copy of the presentation. But in the meantime, let's keep going. So everyone and their dog has an opinion. What used to be 15 minutes of fame is now about 15 seconds of fame because everyone has a platform to share from. So the question today isn't whether or not you have an online reputation, but in fact, what are you doing about it? That old coffee shop conversation where people got around and they talked about their experiences, that doesn't exist anymore. Everyone is sharing their experience online now. Absolutely everywhere you go, you are going to find reviews, opinions, comments on a business, and it's not just on the Facebooks and the Twitters anymore. Right now, whoops, sorry, that's supposed to be a hidden slide. So right now in Canada, we have about 20 different listing sites. And I'm going to quickly zip through that list, and I certainly don't know it off the top of my head. Some of these you will have heard of, others you won't. So Avo, Touring.com, Cars.com, City Search, Deal Rater, Edmunds, Expedia, Glassdoor, Health Grades, House, Indeed, Kudzo, OpenTable, RateMDs, SureCritic, Travel Advisor, and Vitals. Those are just a sample of what's out there. And each of those sites typically allow a business to have a listing and for customers to leave reviews. So there is a ton of information that's out there. When we look online, you're going to see that 2/3 of people are more likely to buy a retailer from a business if there's positive reviews out there. When you look at the third quarter of 2017, so just the last couple of months, Facebook had 2.07 billion active users every month. And the number of tweets is about 500 million per day. So why does that matter? I know you guys all already know that online is exploding, but it matters because 85% of a decision is made based on what a customer can find online. It's why you need to manage your online reputation, and it's why you need to make sure you have a positive online reputation. In 2016, 92% of customers said that they looked at reviews before making a buying decision, and 94% agreed they would shop with a business that had a 4-star or higher rating. One of the things that we're going to talk about a little bit later in the presentation is how to generate reviews. What do you do when all of a sudden a customer leaves you a 1 or 2-star review? And it's going to happen to almost every business, and it tanks your overall score. So we're going to talk about generating reviews because you can bump that average back up simply by requesting more reviews. Okay? Because consumers are now controlling the conversation. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, in marketing and communication, we professionals always talked about controlling the conversation. We could control access to information, and it gave us the ability to only put the information about an organization in front of consumers that we wanted them to see. But all of that has changed, and consumers can now control that because they have access to so much information. And even an organization, when they share something, if you're sharing it within your business, when you're sharing that information, you share it with your employees, but as soon as they've got it, it's electronic information. It can go outside your organization. So you need to be prepared to manage that. One of the most important tenets that has changed is consumers are now trusting information that's user generated. So reviews, recommendations, of course, on Facebook, that's their latest feature. Customers trust that information more than the information that we put out as a business owner. So you might say that you're the best graphic designer or the best clothing manufacturer, but if that's not in fact what customers are saying about you, then potential customers are going to see that information, and that's what they're going to respond to. So we've all seen tweets like this. Somebody from an organization tweets that they can't wait to get out on a Friday, right? I hate my job, can't wait to get out of here. When someone within your organization or your business shares negative information online about the business, it's going to impact your ability to hire new staff or to recruit new customers. And how we respond to the information is really key. And that's what we're going to go on. And okay, it's also going to inhibit your ability to continue to sell and grow. It's not just one customer who's got a complaint or one employee who's got a complaint. It's one person with an opinion, with a platform to share, and they're sharing it with everyone. They're sharing it with absolutely everyone who will listen. In many of the review sites, you don't have the ability to delete a review anymore. And Google is a great example of that. They don't let you delete a review if it's a poor review. The only way you can ever get a review taken off is if it's about the wrong business, so if it's inaccurate. Okay. So knowing where it came from and how to handle it. This is your online presence. It's the sum total of everything about your business that's online. It includes your social media. It includes your website. Those are the two primary channels that you have access to that you can use to build your online reputation. And what I tend to focus on, and where a lot of the work that we do with customers comes from, they've got social media, they've got a website, but nothing's happening. So then we look pretty hard at retention. Potential customers need to be able to find your products and services, and you need the ability to be able to listen when customers are talking. So managing your online presence becomes essential because it increases your accessibility, it reduces your cost around your marketing expenditures, and you start to build relationships with customers, and you start to build trust. People are going to trust you more if, sorry, my screensaver just checked in. People are going to trust you more if everything they're reading about your business is consistent and saying the same things about your business. So when we get into reputation, reputation, of course, is the sum total of what you say about yourself, but also what others are saying about you. And I referenced clothing manufacturing before, manufacturer. When customers hear about your business, people say more than just your business name. I'm not just Above the Fold Canada, but I'm the sum total of what people are going to say about my business, or about me, or about my virtual team. So for the four of us that are working in the business, we each bring something to our total reputation. And that's something that you need to keep in mind as a business owner. When you've got employees working for you, their reputation is also going to impact what people think about your business. Okay, so let's think about reputation and presence. So reputation management is being smart about your online and offline business. You have to recognize that people are going to talk about you, they're going to talk about your business, they're going to leave reviews. Those are things that you can't control. What you can control is how you respond to that information and how actively you manage. In Regina, and I know there's a number of folks here from Saskatoon, so in Regina, every single business that we work with, the first thing we say to them, and we don't make a penny off it, it doesn't cost them a dime, you need to respond to reviews. If you have reviews on Facebook, if you have reviews on your Google business listing, any of those review sites, you need to respond to those reviews. And in a couple of slides, we're going to try and play a YouTube video that shows you how to respond to those different reviews that are out there, especially the negative reviews. And they say now that anything from a 3 or less is actually a negative review. So if you've got a 4-star or 5-star, great, you still respond to those. But a 3, which of course is neutral, is still equal to a negative because it's bringing your average down. So reputation management tends to get broken into 4 categories. Your listing and your visibility, your reviews or your mentions, monitoring your brand history, watching your competitors and industry leaders, and social media, which I already mentioned we use primarily to build a reputation. So I just want to make sure everybody's still with me. In the chat box, tell me if anyone out there doesn't have a review that they're wondering how they're going to respond to. Does everyone have a review either on your Google business listing or on your Facebook page that you need to respond to? Type in the chat just yes, I have a review, or no, we don't have any to respond to. So Stephanie doesn't have anything. Okay, you're very fortunate. Neither does Jean, not right now. Wow, you guys are rocking it. Okay, don't have any either. Brandy? Okay, so it looks like you guys don't have a number of views. So you've got one review, but it's a 5-star Brandy and nothing. Okay, cool. So that's, to me, when I read that, that's good and bad. And I want to tell you why I think there's actually an opportunity there for you. A review is almost like a referral. When someone reviews your business, that person essentially becomes a raving fan for your business, if it's positive. So if someone has taken the time to leave a positive review, then more often than not, they're going to tell others. A business with no reviews is less likely to come up in a Google than a business with reviews. Google's obviously going to give preference to a business that has a high overall star rating, but you will often see, and their algorithm, we all know that there's a million things that go into that algorithm, but when they look at the algorithm for how a business is going to show up in search results, one of the key factors is reviews. Have a bad review that you've responded to than to have no reviews at all. So when we talk a little bit later about generating reviews, those of you that have already responded, awesome. If you don't have reviews either on your Facebook, your Google business listing, or some of the other common sites, I would really encourage you to start asking your customers for reviews. Google loves to see that interaction with the customer where there's a conversation happening. And the more of those conversations you have, the better it's going to be for your overall search result. So to be honest, I'm a little bit surprised that folks don't have reviews to respond to. But once we get there and we talk about generating reviews, then you have some opportunity that you can start to ask people to leave you a review. Okay, so let's talk about building that positive reputation. Right now, and this was as of, I think it was as of June, don't quote me on that one, but it was fairly recent. The overall search rank that I talked about is impacted by about 10% based on the reviews that you have. Now again, the Google search algorithm looks at a number of different factors, including website visits, visits to your business listing, number of searches for your business. So there's a number of factors that go into it, but in general, your search rank will be about 10% higher if you have reviews on your business, either on your Google business listing or on your Facebook listing. I'm just going to skip that slide. So you remember earlier I talked about visibility and listings. So that's where I'm going to start. Oh, I can see Deidre's typing something here. Okay, so visibility. Let's start there. Okay, so visibility, of course, is all about being able to get found. And hopefully most of you have a Google business listing, you've got a 411 listing, you've got Yelp, you've got Facebook, Glassdoor, Indeed, the list goes on and on. In Canada, or in North America, there are 4 primary listing databases. I just saw your message, Deidre. No problem. I'm surprised I haven't knocked the keyboard out yet. We have 4 primary databases. Those 4 databases feed over 200 listing sites in North America. And I referenced that in Canada, there are 20 that are fairly common and popular. In order to change information on a database, you have to pay for that. That's not something that you can do just you and I picking up the phone. What we can do is sort of on a one-off basis, we can control or we can manage the information that's on a listing. So picking from those 20, we can decide what's important to us in our business and we can focus on those. I have a PDF that I can send after we're done today. We actually built a mountain that shows all of the different listing sites and where to start. So the top of the mountain is the most important listing sites, and then it works its way down until you get to the least important. So that's certainly something that I'd be willing to share. Why are there so many different listing sites? Well, obviously there's revenue in it for someone, but why all of these different listing sites got started, I don't know. It's a little bit beyond me. Accuracy, though. Accuracy is huge on these different listing sites, and it's a bit of a pain because I'll be perfectly honest. Let's say something like Foursquare. Foursquare has access to data on one of those 4 databases I talked about, and they publish that information online. I didn't put it there. I have no idea if it's up to date or not up to date, but because I do what I do, I made sure that everything was synced, and I didn't go and do it manually. I went and did it the easy way and did the electronic sync. But anyway, as a business owner, if your address changes, you now need to figure out how to change your address across all those listings, or your hours change, or you've got special hours over the holidays for Christmas. You need to be able to keep that listing data up to date. And I suspect that we've all been there. You go searching for a business, or you want to know what time a store is open to, so you Google it, and, oh good, they're open Sundays, let's run over there. And you get there, chances are you're not going back the next day. You're going to find someplace else to spend your money. And that's one of the reasons that we talk about accuracy being so important, because as customers are looking for your business or looking for your product and services, having accurate information out there can make a huge difference in terms of bringing customers to your business. Okay. Google has about 70% of the search traffic out there. And for those of you who are on an iPhone, Siri uses Bing for their information. So if you were to pick nothing but 2 sites that you wanted to keep up to date, I would suggest that you want to keep Google up to date and you want to keep Bing up to date, because those are going to be the 2, especially in our province, that will get the most traffic. Okay. On a daily basis on Google, there's 6.5 billion searches. Can you imagine if your phone number or website address is incorrect when you've got that kind of that number of searches happening? 6.5 billion per day. That gives the opportunity for a wrong phone number to be everywhere. And I shared this story with another group not too long ago. One of the features of your Google business listing is the ability to message or text directly from your listing. So I had set the feature up, and I was teaching a class and explaining how that Google business listing worked. And so someone texted me, and I got the message, and we went back and forth, and it was all hunky-dory. And then she said to me later, "But look at the phone number that I see, Barb." She said, "This isn't your phone number." So I presumed that Google puts a screen on a phone number so that people can't necessarily see your phone number. And I didn't think much else of it, though she kept reminding me, like, this phone number is weird, because if I want to call you, I'm just going to pick up the phone now from the conversation we had. So we finally decided that we should test out this phone number. So I dialed it up, and it rang, and my phone, of course we all have call display, and my phone shows New York across it. And I thought, what? New York? A grumpy old man at the end of the phone, who I think may have had a few phone calls he wasn't supposed to. And he all but hung up on me when I said, "Oh, sorry about that, wrong number." So I had to call Google, and somewhere in the back end, even though my phone number appeared correct on my listing and the text messages were coming to me, the actual phone number where the phone would ring was going someplace off in New York. So it's those sorts of little things that, in terms of accuracy, are so important. I would have been texting with a customer not thinking anything of it, but when they tried to call me, or even when they saw the number and they saw a completely different area code, they would have assumed that, my business wasn't local and I wasn't based here in Saskatchewan. So those are the kind of little things that I would really encourage you to just take a look at. You'll see all sorts of things like that are out there. We've kind of covered off this one, so I'm going to skip ahead. And I'm going to start to talk about reviews and mentions. Oops, there we go. There we go. Okay, reviews. Reviews are gold. And I mean that literally. Like, reviews are about dollars in the bank. I met with a client yesterday who point blank said to me, yeah, I saw your website and I read your reviews and I like your reviews. That's why I called. All right, then. I'm glad I have good reviews. And it's something that we're seeing more and more in Canada. So reviews are wildly popular in the States, and we all know that eventually it's going to filter its way up here. As a Canadian, I had a very hard time asking for my first reviews. It feels very ask people who we believe will say good things to say good things about us. We don't do that. We're not made of that. So it can be a little bit challenging, but I want you to think about your whole reputation and your reviews. It's about monitoring. It's about knowing what's out there. Remember, we're listening as much as we're sharing information to build our reputation. It's about managing it, so being able to find it, respond to it, engage with the customer, invite that future business. And then it's about generating the reviews. And when I look to generate a review, I keep it really simple. I'm going to give you 4 steps to ask for a review. And I want you to think of the last 3 customers that you wowed, because those are the 3 people that you want to send an email to this afternoon asking for a review. Keep it simple. Don't feel like you have to give them a great, big, long, drawn-out explanation for why you want to ask for a review. At the end of the day, if you believe that you've wowed them with your product or service, ask for the review. Remind them of the service you've just provided. Okay? Strike while that iron is hot. If you finished your work with them yesterday or last week, take advantage of that. You are in that sweet spot where you have the most likely opportunity to do additional work or to get a positive review from the client. And provide them a direct link. I always recommend to people that you first ask for reviews on Google, because Google is that #1 sort of search platform. And then if you want additional reviews, then send them to Facebook. But I would really encourage you to ask for those reviews first on Google Business Listing, and then think about some of the secondary sources. Okay. All right, so let's look at the how. How do we respond when we do have a review? We've asked, 3 people left us a response, and now we need to think about what we're going to do with it. Typically, 80% of the people that you ask to leave a review will leave a review. You're not going to get 100% of people who feel comfortable leaving a review. When you ask someone to leave a review on Google, they have to have an email address that's associated with Google in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be a Gmail address, to be an email address that's associated with a Google account. You guys can see I talk with my hands a lot. And there's a little bit of a lag in the screen, so I'm watching myself moving in slow motion sometimes. Okay, so what do? We've asked for reviews. We've had 2 out of the 3 people maybe respond to our reviews, so now what? We're going to respond. What if one of those reviews isn't glowing? What if things didn't go as well as we thought they did? And that's when you as the business owner have an opportunity to take that information and use it as a management tool. So it's a positive review. Let Sally know that she's got a wonderful review from a customer. If it's not as glowing as you were hoping, then there's a tool that you can use to improve. Maybe the night staff aren't responding to customers as quickly as you'd like them to. Maybe something happened, in one of the services that you provide. So you can use it for training, you can use it for coaching, you can use it to improve your business. Because obviously, at the end of the day, I think we're all driven to sort of be that 4 and 5-star business online. And so we want everyone that's working in our business to be able to help us get to that place. The star rating is the #1 factor used by consumers to judge a business. So don't be afraid to ask for reviews to drive that up. If you get a poor review, then you need to think about those customers that you've wowed so that you can use those reviews to build your reputation back up. Try and make your reviews easy to find. And, just for example, when we do a website, we always make sure that reviews are built right into it. When customers are on a mobile device, and I'm kind of looking through the list of folks that are in attendance today and trying to think about some of your businesses. If you have a storefront business and someone searches for your product or service online, the likelihood that they will buy is 127% if you have positive reviews. So if you've got a customer out on a Saturday and they're shopping for, a product or service that you sell and your store is open, having those positive reviews is so much more likely to turn them into a customer than if you don't. And I know a couple of folks who, when they get a positive review, they share it. That's awesome. That is wonderful. That's exactly what you want to be able to do with your, okay? I'm going to quickly jump over, or we're going to try and jump over to this video. And the video does the same thing I did a couple of minutes ago where I gave you 4 steps on how to ask for a review. The video is going to show you how to respond to a review. And typically it's easy to respond to a positive review, but the video is going to touch on how to do the negative review as well. So hopefully it works. It's about 3 minutes long. If it's not working, can somebody just type in the chat for me so that I know that you're not actually seeing the video? And do I need to, I think I need to do this. We'll find out. Maybe. Deidre, what's happening? Oh, there we go.
I'm going to show you how to apply to online reviews, both good and bad. At our digital agency, we respond to a lot of reviews, as many as thousands a month. I'm going to share some tips with you today that are going to show you how to best reply to both good and bad online reviews. So why respond to a good review? So say you get a 5-star review from your customer, and it's a glowing, awesome review. Do you just leave it alone? It's really worth it to take the time and write a personalized response. So here we go. How do you actually respond to these positive reviews? Well, I've got 4 steps for you. Number 1, thank that customer. Whether it's for their time for writing you that review or for just visiting your business, you want to make sure you say thank you. Number 2, you want to make sure you mention the business name so that review shows up in your search engine results. Number 3, throw a little bit of marketing in, whether that's highlighting a special or just glowing about how great your business is. You want to make sure you highlight something for your future customers to see. Number 4, invite the customer to do something, whether that's coming back to the business or spreading the word. Check out this great example. In this response, the person actually thanks the customer for taking the time to write them a review. They also highlight a feature of their business. Also, they mention the next time they visit, they should try their seafood dishes. Check out that positive result below. The customer actually replied back, thanking them for their suggestion and mentioning they're going to come back with their husband to try it again. So you definitely want to make sure those positive reviews don't go unanswered. Okay, negative reviews. What do you do? So it is important that you do reply to that negative review. Replying shows that the business isn't just sweeping their problems under the rug. They're actually taking corrective steps to make sure that situation doesn't happen again. Remember, this isn't just the one person who wrote the review that you're replying to. Anybody who comes across that review is going to see your response. How do you respond to negative reviews? Number 1, you want to make sure you apologize and sympathize with the customer's concerns. You want to make sure that they feel heard. Number 2, throw in a little bit of marketing. You can actually take that situation and spin it so that your future customers will see that whatever negative experience happened is not the standard for the business. Number 3, keep it short and sweet. You don't want to go into too much detail. A rule of thumb is 3 sentences. That should be plenty of time for you to get your point across. As a side note, make sure you don't mention the business name. You don't want that negative review to be showing up whenever people are looking for that business online. Number 4, and this is probably the most important one, is make sure that you provide that customer with someone offline that can handle their complaint. This will prevent a lengthy public back and forth between the customer and the business. Check out this great example. So with this response, the business actually took the time to acknowledge that customer's complaints. They threw in a little bit of that marketing that I mentioned earlier, and they gave them a contact in the real world that they could take their complaint to. And look at what happened afterwards. That customer came back to the business, had an awesome experience, and then updated that review. That is how you respond to a negative review. While you can't make a negative review go away completely, there are many customers who have had great experiences. How do you get them to leave you a review? Essentially, it's simple. Just ask. The business can ask those great customers to leave a review. This is something we can do for you.
From your customer. Okay, there. Put the pieces back together. Okay, so hopefully you guys are seeing the presentation back on the screen. And absolutely, Lorna, I will share the link. If I put the link in the chat, I think everyone can access it. So it's just on our YouTube channel. And let me put it in here. And hopefully that means everybody should be able to grab it from there. Looks like it. And if everybody doesn't have it there, I can send it out with the presentation back too. So the important thing that I want to touch on from that video is if it's a positive review, mention your business name. And sometimes you really have to sort of work and think about how you want to do that, especially if your business name is your personal name. So one of the life coaches that I was doing some work with, she was having a really hard time saying her business name in the review because it is her name. So in the end, we decided the easiest to do was sign it with her name, comma, then the business name. So it was, you know, signed person, comma, ABC coaching. So it still gets the business name in there. So be creative. Think about the different ways that you would want someone to stumble across your business name. And if it's positive, be sure to mention the business name. If you get a negative review, obviously you're not going to mention the business name, but make sure you take the conversation offline. I dealt with a customer online one time when I was working in the optical industry, and they were particularly upset. So we gave them contact information offline, and they responded again, and they wanted to engage in the whole debate online. They wanted this to be a public conversation. And I had to just keep reinforcing that we look forward to hearing from you. Absolutely want to resolve this situation for you. Please call me at this number, or please, and you can give them an email address. But you need to take the conversation offline, not have that debate online, because you're now having a debate in the court of public opinion, and that's not going to work out well for the business. So make sure you take it offline. Okay, let's keep going. There we go. So monitoring and the competition. So how the heck do you start to do this? All right, so one of the things that you're going to see in this slide, and I had used the presentation another time, so don't necessarily agree with everything that you're going to see on here. I'm a bit of a believer that we should all be leaders in our business. So we want to monitor the competition. We want to watch and see what they're doing. Sometimes you can get some great ideas from that, but I think it's actually way more important to be a leader in your business and cut your own path. As you're watching or as you're monitoring the competition, you want to start to monitor mentions of your brand, of your business name or industry, any personnel that work in your business, and the services you offer. You want to be able to measure the sentiment, and I'm going to kind of give you an idea how you do that in a second, but you want to be able to measure the sentiment around what's being said. And of course, because we're looking at information that's online, we're not combing through newspapers, we can get a really quick read on whether or not a comment was positive, neutral, or negative. Okay? And then obviously you want to start to watch for requests of your product or service. So if your business was mentioned, obviously you want to respond. If your services are requested, let's say for example you're Get in Shape come the new year. Hey, wouldn't that be awesome if, you know, said gym owner then responds and says, hey, we've got a special on right now. Why don't you come check us out before the new year? Okay. Your industry is criticized. So again, let's pick on that gym owner. So now people are saying, oh, this is just all a money grab come January, and you know, the only thing that matters is how you eat, and I don't know, whatever. So there's another great opportunity to jump in as the business owner and say, you know, one of the things about our gym that's a little bit different, we do this, and we really try and accommodate your customer's lifestyle and blah, 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 right? I'm not selling gym services today, so I don't know what they would say exactly, but it gives you an opportunity to first of all put a positive spin on the industry and then on your business. So not all gyms are going to be, you know, the right word for that customer, but by putting a positive spin on it, you've now stepped into the conversation. And again, from the perspective of managing the entire online presence, you've now moved yourself up one notch. I'm going to take you through the steps that you would do if you were wanting to monitor and manage and all of those pieces. And I'll give you 2 different ways that you can kind of do it. And I'll be perfectly honest. Yes, it's a service we offer, but I'm still more than happy to. And there's a very doable sort of do-it-yourself way of doing this. So if you've got pen and paper, you're welcome to write these down. The first thing you need to do is to create an email alert with your business name, the name of your products and services, and your personnel. So we kind of mentioned that one already. The next thing that you want to do is to create an alert for your competitors and their products or services that you want to monitor. So you're not going to necessarily want to, you know, monitor everything that a competitor does, but they may have 2 or 3 products or services that you really want to keep an eye on. Maybe you both offer the exact same product, so you want to keep track of their pricing and things like that. Okay. You can choose to get those emails daily, weekly, and I think even less often than that. But you want to make sure that you're taking time to look at that information so you can now use that information, your competitors got it on sale, to be able to manage your own business. Maybe you want to beat your competitor on price, or maybe you want to surpass them on service. That's something that you can decide as a business owner, but you want to make sure that you review that information regularly. The next piece that I always talk to customers about is monitoring trend data. So using something like Google Trends to watch what's happening in your particular industry. Again, picking on that gym owner, right now the trend for searches related to healthy lifestyles are skyrocketing as we get closer and closer to the new year. January, and I know we all know this, is an absolute, it just booms in that particular industry. So it's a great opportunity for you, the business owner, to be able to say, okay, I can see that the trend is already going up. How can I take advantage of that opportunity? If you're not watching for an increase in the trend, you have no way to know whether or not there's an opportunity that exists there for you. Listings, we talked, of course, about listings and their importance. So based on, you want to make sure that you have listings for your business on the sites that are most fitting, okay? So if you don't sell cars, don't create yourself a listing on cars.com or Edmund, okay? So you pick the listing sites that are most appropriate for your industry and your business, and that information stays up to date. Share your specials, your holiday hours, you're open longer during the holidays. Whatever data you have, those are the sorts of things that you share on the different listing sites, okay? Add your competitors in Facebook as a business that you watch, and respond to any reviews, of course, that happen on the listing sites. So those are kind of the 5 or 6 things that you would want to set up within to be able to monitor. And we do have a subscription service, and obviously, we did quite a bit of shopping before we chose which service we would use. But we have a subscription service that does all of that for us automatically, and then we just get the data back out of it that says, oh, hey, your business was mentioned here, and oh, you have a review here, you need to go respond. And then, we've got something, a lead that's attached to one of them. So that's how we do it. Okay. The next piece is going to be social marketing. And I'm going to move through this piece really quick because that's not our primary purpose in being here today. And I'm actually going to make the presumption that most of you are already fairly familiar with marketing, how you can use social media to your benefit. So I'm going to move through this really quickly. Again, if you get a copy of the presentation, you'll see that it's all in here. Okay. The whole reason, though, that we do social marketing is not to sell all the time, but it's, of course, to build a following and to generate fans. Okay. I did reference the Google business listing earlier, and your Google business listing, you can share the same content to your listing as you do to Facebook or Twitter. So if you've got an image or a sale or a promotion, you can share it directly to your Google business listing now. As I say, I'm going to move through a few pieces of this pretty quick, but let's stop here. Locksmith, very local business, not someone who you typically think you might be able to work with over the internet. And so, common thing for people to tweet about, look, I locked my keys in my car. What if that particular locksmith had already set up an alert on his phone so that one within 25 kilometers of him, he would get an alert on his phone when somebody says they're locked out? Maybe 25 kilometers is too big, and he brings it down to 15 kilometers. But one of the things that you can do when you're managing that entire online presence is set up alerts like that say, oh, gee, somebody's talking about being locked out. Somebody's talking about being stressed out. Hey, I'm a yoga studio. Maybe I want to be able to tweet back to things like that. Okay, so as a business owner, actively managing and monitoring for that content, it then creates the opportunity to connect with a potential customer and grow that business. Okay, one of the things that I used to do when I worked for was we set up searches lists for each of our locations. We had 22 locations across Western Canada. In Saskatchewan at the time, it wasn't huge that people would be tweeting and Facebooking and things like that. But out in Vancouver at the time, it was huge. And I would almost on a daily basis engage with a customer out on the West Coast about buying glasses, broken glasses, getting their glasses fixed, or I bought my glasses online and they don't fit properly. What do I do? The prescription is right. What do I do? So we would regularly engage with these customers, and almost every time they became a customer in store then. Okay, so it really can be beneficial to you as a business owner to be able to actively engage in that conversation. Okay. All right, so social media, it gives you that opportunity to connect with nearby customers. And for any of you who subscribe to Google's newsletter, they always talk about no, go, do, and buy moments. And go moments are huge. Huge. Customers want to go someplace. They want to accomplish something. And so that search for businesses near me is really important to people. I want to find glasses near me. I want to find a gym near me. I want to find, shoes near me. Something that's very near to where they are. So that's one of the reasons that one of the benefits that you can derive from social media. All right, so 10 minutes left. What the heck is the recap? Customers are controlling the conversation. Business owners, we can't control that conversation anymore. Monitoring your reputation is the first step, but it's not necessarily enough. You need to monitor it and actively engage in the process. As I talked about earlier, build a reputation. But if you've got this wonderful reputation that you're building over here, and customers are saying, no, sort of mediocre, somewhere in the middle, maybe down here, the two don't jive. You need to bring up that reputation, and you can use reviews, you can use conversations online, you can use all of those pieces to be able to do that. Okay. Remember that you need to actively manage your listings. That's your visibility and your accuracy. If you're not sure, I'll send you that PDF. Take a look at the mountain, figure out which are the sites that are really important to you. Generate reviews, that's absolutely huge, and respond to the reviews when you get them. People often ask me, how quickly should I respond to a review? And my answer is, if you get the review on your phone and you've got 5 minutes, do it right now. Review and your immediate response is to blast the customer back, then step back. Put the phone down and step back. You absolutely don't want to respond like that. And if you need time to cool off, think about it, maybe write it or type it out first and then post it, absolutely do that. Try and respond within 24 hours, if at all possible, simply so that you're showing that you're very responsive to both the positive and the negative. If positive takes 5 minutes and negative takes 3 days, customers can see that and is measuring how quickly you respond to those reviews. Monitor those keywords, your industry, your business name, your brand, your personnel, and watch your competitors. Watch for what they're doing, watch for similar products, watch their Facebook page, and then use your social media and your website. So with that, that's sort of the summary of what I had. Anybody who is looking for presentation, the PDFs that I talked about, the website link, let me know, send me a quick email and I will shoot it back to you. But if there's any questions, I'm happy to sit here for as long as we need to answer some of those questions. I can see that a couple people are typing, so I'm just waiting for the question to show. How would you respond to a review that is a personal attack that has nothing to do with your business? That's a great question, Angela. And in fact, because of the front for my business, that's entirely possible that happens for me at some point. I won't shop at the stores. Wow, yeah, that definitely gets personal. I would honestly follow the same 4 steps that we talked about before. So you're apologizing and you're empathizing, but this time it's not about an experience that they've had, but it's, we're really sorry to hear that you don't shop with our business because, and obviously I'm not repeat what they've said, but it might be something like, I'm really sorry to hear that you won't shop at our store because I don't want to say you don't like the person, but because of your personal feelings or because of your personal experience with some of our employees. And then I would probably go on to talk about, we always try and provide the best service or the best selection or, something like that. So I would enforce that mantra of what your business is all about. And so that would be my piece of the marketing message. And then in closing, I would still invite that offline conversation. So, somebody's not happy, but if you'd like to talk more with us about this, please feel free to contact us. So I would stick as close as you can to those 4 points that are laid out. It tells me a lot about the viewer that they would be personal on a business site. To me, that takes a special kind of person to be willing to do that. But I would keep the response the same and absolutely don't engage any further with an individual like that. Melissa, how do we set up the alerts that you're talking about, such as people looking for business names, so that we can engage in the conversation? Yeah, you bet. Google Alerts is one of my favorite, but there are a couple of different ways that you can set up alerts. What I like about Google Alerts is you can set up a very basic alert, so you get a daily alert or a weekly alert. And as you get more comfortable with creating them, there are also, what would I call them? You can almost add code to your alert that says, I want an alert, but I want it within a certain radius. I want an alert, but I only want it from certain sites. Or I want an alert, but I don't want it to include anything from certain sites. So those are called search parameters. And if you go to create a Google alert, you can also do a separate search in another window for the search parameters. And then it tells you how to put, so you could do your business name and anything that's mentioned within 100 kilometers or 500 kilometers or something like that. So that's my favorite. Brandy, I think the more professionally you respond, the more obvious to other readers that the reviewer is a jerk. That's a great comment, Brandy. I agree wholeheartedly. When you're responsive to negative reviews online, that's showing potential customers how important you believe that information is. And so I agree 100%. Keep it professional. Multiple friends, negative reviewer that haven't interacted with the business, also leave later. Oh, because the friend told them to. Yeah. That's a tough one. And so I'm going to tell you a quick story, Angela, about a couple of clients that I have in Saskatoon. There's a bit of a trend out there right now, especially for businesses that have a professional practice. And there seems to be reviewers who are just purposely going onto these professional sites, professional practice business listings, and leaving negative reviews. And I've had my customers, they've looked through databases, they've looked through any information they have about their customers, and there's nothing. These people were never a customer of their business. So they've intentionally left a negative review to bring the score down, hoping that, and knowing that there's nothing that the business owner can do. So in a case like that, even though you as the business owner know, oh, sorry, I missed your question, Lorna. Yeah, I'll go right back up there. So you as the business owner, you can go back and respond to each review. The best thing that you can do is to follow that 4-step. And often if an offline conversation happens, hopefully you can try and fix it. But in an instance like this, my suggestion is that you be a little bit more positive reviews so that you can bring your score back up, and you'll push the negative reviews down and down and down. Now, you might find yourself getting into a little bit of a battle with this group of people who have been willing to leave negative reviews. And often what we see is people who have like a hidden name with their Google, so it doesn't actually show that your name is Barb, it just says B or something like that. They're more likely to be willing to leave reviews like that. Respond as if it's a genuine review, but be more assertive about collecting positive reviews from customers that you've wowed, because I'm certain that there's way more customers you've wowed than somebody who's just purposely being malicious with your reviews on there. Yeah. Laura, back to your question. Sole provider and not that strong, my screensaver. On the techie side, plus I don't have a lot of money to spend on consultants to improve my presence. I do have a website and a Facebook page. Any suggestions? Yeah, ask for reviews and respond to those reviews. Number one suggestion would be those 2 things. Ask people to leave you a review on your Google business listing if you have one, not on your Facebook page. And then if you manage your website or whomever is managing it, ask them to share ask them to share those reviews onto your website so that you're taking the most advantage of the positive reviews that are being left. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, any more questions, you guys? I'm going to put my email address in the chat. I can see that there's a question being typed. I'm just going to put my email address in here for anyone who is looking for the present. And then I'll look back up. The internet has replaced word of mouth. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, people don't talk to each other. The word of mouth is online now, and that's why people are coming to trust the information they find online more so than any other source. If you're doing other advertising, digital advertising, anything like that, when we're doing that for a client, we always try and make sure that the message and the sentiment about a business matches what it is about a business. Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, Eddie. That was a really good comment. Okay, so I'm not seeing any other questions in there. You guys have my email address. Hopefully I typed it right. Happy to send out the presentation, and if you do have questions, more than happy to answer you guys. Thank you very much for coming today. We had great attendance, and yeah, take care. Have a great afternoon. Merry Christmas, and talk to you all in the new year. Take care.
Thank you, Barb, very much for your amazing webinar today and sharing your insights and taking time to really explain a lot of this information to our West community. Your webinar was incredibly valuable, and it'll definitely help us entrepreneurs to utilize our brand's reputation online. Definitely enjoyed your joke to kick us off today. That was quite clever. And thank you again for all of the information you've given us to think about over the holidays coming up. And I definitely want to thank all of you who attended as well. You had some excellent questions to send to Barb, and hopefully you can take that information straight back to your business and answer some of those reviews with some professional attitudes and get some better recognition online. So our next upcoming webinar is titled Easing the Stress of Terminations, and it'll be in the new year on January 24th. Our presenter is Janelle Payan of Sparkle Solutions. So please check your West emails or visit our website to register.